TV show pisses you off so much you have to make a YouTube video about it? So that's More Than Words for me, a Japanese BL created in 2022. So I don't think this show should not be categorized as a BL. People just categorize it as that because it has gay people in it. But this show is not a BL. It is not boys love. It's more like boys hate. It's emotional torment, pain. It ruined me. Like the thing that I hate most about this show is that when it started, the first 5 or so episodes, the acting in this show is superb. The dialogue is so realistic, and at the end of each episode, as the credits roll, it's just the main characters hanging out, and I have a feeling it's improvised because they're just hanging out like normal friends would, just saying random stuff, and it goes on for in the entire credits, and they're just talking like normal people. Like, this show is so incredibly realistic, and also there are barely any cuts in the show. Each shot is very long. Like, when it's the character blow drying the other's hair, they literally blow dry their hair until their hair is dry. Like, it goes on for uncomfortably long, really immersing you in the world. It's very realistic. But there are a lot of problems with this show, even though it has a lot of good aspects. And we're going to talk about that today. But first, I'm just going to go over the plot. So I have barely any notes. This is all I have going with me. No pictures, no nothing. Off the top of the dome, I binged this yesterday. It pissed me off so bad, I'm making a video. More Than Words. Let's go. All right. So our story starts with, there's technically 2 main characters of the show. So there's Mieko. She is this girl, this high school first year in Japan at the start of the show. So she's 16 years old. And then there's also Maki. Well, that's his nickname, but everyone calls him Maki. And he's also a first year high schooler, and they go to the same high school, not in the same class. They don't know each other that well. But anyways, the show starts with Mieko. She just got slapped in the face by her boyfriend because she refused to have sex with him. And then she runs away from his house, and she goes to a convenience store to get something to treat the red mark on her face. And that's when we see Maki. He is in this convenience store reading a comic, and he notices Mieko. He recognizes her, and he sees that there's a giant red mark on her face. So when she leaves the convenience store, he goes after her to see if she's okay. So he follows her down the street for a bit, and then he's like, bro, are you okay? Your face is kind of swollen. And she's like, get away from me. You don't understand. And he's like, bro, you can talk to me. I'm just worried about you. Walking home on your own, it could be dangerous. I'm just going to walk with you. So then eventually, after walking for a bit, she relents, and she explains to him what happened, how she got slapped by her boyfriend. And he's very sympathetic. He offers her some snacks he had in his bag. He feels really bad for her. And she's like, I just hate men. Oh. And he's like, well, you should break up with him then. You gotta break up with this guy. He sucks. He's a terrible man. No wonder you hate men. This guy is terrible. And then she's like, okay, thank you. So he walks her until she gets to her house. And then, yeah, they kind of become friends after that. So at school, these two, they start to hang out with each other. They eat lunch together. They become best friends. And they don't really talk about their love lives or anything like that because they don't have any. And Mieko she is always I hate men. I don't ever want to date a man. I don't like that. I'm not into romantic stuff. And this is when I made the mistake of getting my hopes up. Because she was saying stuff yeah, I just felt kind of obliged to date my boyfriend. I didn't even like him in the first place. I didn't feel any romantic feelings for him. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is this a aromantic and asexual character? And I start clawing at the screen, and I'm like, finally, the representation I've been waiting for. I've been searching for this. I've been craving for someone like this on a TV show. And finally, I thought, the gods had answered my wishes and given me as someone who is not romantically or sexually attracted to anyone, is just content in herself being alone, but like with friends around her. And I was so happy. I was like, I'm gonna love this show. I'm gonna love this show. So they're best friends. Everyone thinks they're dating because they're male and female. Why wouldn't they be? But whenever anyone asks if they're dating, they're like, nah, we're just friends. And they are. And they are. So then eventually they decide to get a part-time job together at a restaurant. And they get hired so easily. No job experience. They get hired automatically, put on the same shift. I wish life was that easy. But it's like 2014 in Japan. Maybe the economy was great and they were just giving jobs to first-year high school students willy-nilly. But they get this job, they start working. And that's when they meet their co-worker, Eiji. Oh, Eiji. You'll see. This is when the show went down. This is fucking episode 2 though. Like, okay, anyways. So he works as like a cook at this restaurant, you know, and he's 22 years old. They are 16 years old. Keep that in mind. So he begins to talk to them. And part of the reason why he feels like so open to talk to these kids is because they like figure out he's gay. Like he overhears them talking, and then Mieko's like, Eiji seems like a bit feminine, and then Maki's like, yeah, maybe he's gay, and then Eiji comes in, he overhears this, and he's like, how did you know? Oh my god, how did you know I was gay? And they're like, what? And they become really fast friends. He starts driving these kids home from work, you know. They start hanging out outside of work. They drive to the beach together. They have barbecues. They're a trio, an elite trio. He's hanging out with these children. And one day, he invites them over to come for a sleepover at his family's house. I mean, if you want to invite children over to your family's house alone with no supervision, but they're his friends. It's chill. Like, they're his best friends. But at this overnight stay, he ends up sort of accidentally confessing to Maki that he has feelings for him. So, what is the age of consent in Japan? Oh, it's 16. I guess then, since the age of consent is 16 and they are 16, then I guess what happens after this is technically legal. I do think it's a bit weird for a 22-year-old to feel this way towards a 16-year-old. That's like a very big gap in maturity. These people are in their first year high school. So he confesses his feelings to Maki, and this is what Maki responds with. He says, well, I've never really felt that way towards anyone before, but if I were to date someone, I'd want to date you, Eiji. I mean, I do have fun hanging out with you and all. So now they begin dating. Yay! And all the while, Mieko, she is very supportive of her two besties dating. And the trio, they continue to hang out together. The only difference is Maki and Eiji are just dating, but they still hang out. They're an inseparable trio. They hang out all the time. So it's Christmas. And they're gonna celebrate together, the besties. So Maki and Mieko are at Eiji's house, little apartment, decorating, putting up Christmas decorations, and Eiji is at his parents' house talking to them. And they're like, Eiji, you sure do spend a lot of time with Maki and Mieko. Like, are you dating Mieko or something? And he's like, well, the truth is, the one I'm dating is actually Maki. And his dad is, let's just say he's not very happy with it. It's not the fact that bro has been dating Maki since he's 16. It's the fact that it's a gay relationship. And that's what his dad doesn't like. So his dad is like, you're only doing this for now though, right? Don't tell anyone. This is just for a short period of time and then it'll be all over. It's just a phase, right? I can't believe a son of mine would do something so disgusting. Anyway, so Eiji leaves. He leaves the house and he goes over to his apartment to celebrate with his children friends. And they can sense something's a little off. You know, he comes in, his mood's a bit weird, but, you know, he plays it off. And all's good. He does end up telling them, like, my dad is hella homophobic. Anyways, 3-year time skip. Now Mieko is like, she's going to beautification college, learning to paint nails and do makeup and stuff. And Maki's like still just doing part-time work, you know?
A note that will be important later is that Eiji has now dyed his hair back to black, and Mieko is dressing noticeably more femininely than she used to.
But anyways, Eiji and Maki, they still together. Things are going well for them, I guess. But then, after 3 years, Maki happens to come across Eiji's dad at Eiji's apartment. And Eiji's dad is like, the reason why I don't like my son dating you is I once had a friend who was gay. It was back in Texas, America. And, well, people found out he was gay and he got lynched. And now his hands are paralyzed. And I just don't want my son to go through that. You know, that's the real reason why I don't want you guys to date. Maki leaves, and you can tell by the look on his face, by the blank expression, this conversation has put fear inside of him. He is scared. And then Eiji goes over to Maki and Mieko, and he's like, hey, so my dad, he said he wants to have, like, dinner with us. Like, maybe he's finally going to be supportive of me and Maki's relationship. And they're like, okay, Eiji, yeah, totally. Maybe he's come around after 3 years.
Part of the reason why Eiji wanted to meet with his dad was because he decided that he was going to start working for his company, even though up until now he had no interest in doing this. And Maki, you can tell that he's kind of disappointed that Eiji's not following his dreams.
So then they go to have dinner with the dad. They're eating. And then the dad's like, son, I still don't approve of your relationship. And then they're all like, what? I thought you, okay. And then he starts going off. He starts yelling, get out! Don't date a fucking man! My son, no son of mine will be dating a fucking man, Eiji. Get out of here! Like, how are you gonna have an heir? How are you gonna have a child? Having a child is the most happy thing that ever happened to me and your mother. How are you gonna have an heir if you're fucking gay? Get the fuck out of my face! Stop! Conversion! Be straight! Get out of here! So, Eiji's like, we're leaving. And he pulls his two friends, his friend and boyfriend, out of there. And then they are sitting alone in Eiji's apartment. Clearly traumatized. Maki is tuned out. He's blank-faced, just disassociating. And Mieko is crying after witnessing this. And she feels really close to these two. At one point, after like hanging out with them, she like leaves Eiji's apartment, and then she's like, you know, other people, they might feel lonely in this situation, but I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
欲しかったもんを見つけたような気持ちになるのはなんでなんやろ?
And that is when I was like, yes! This is what I'm talking about! She is asexual and aromantic, finally! But it turns out that was true, because just after his dad had homophobically yelled at them all, she drops the bombshell. She's like, guys, if it will let your love continue to blossom, I volunteer to bring a baby into this world. I will give birth to your baby, Eiji. Maki, he's still disassociating, but Eiji's like, wait, that might work. Because if I have a baby, and if I'm happy, my dad can't say shit about me being gay, right? Right? So they decide to bring a child into this world. Mind you, the two are still 19. She's 19. And they decide to bring a child into this world purely to appease Eiji's father, and not because any of them want a child. Especially Maki. He's been very silent about this entire decision, and you can tell he doesn't necessarily think this is a good idea, but he's in love with Edgy, so, you know, he's going along with it, and he's 19. So anyways, the three of them go on a little getaway vacation to a fancy hotel. And for some reason, they forgot that artificial insemination is a thing that exists. And they think that the only way for Mieko to be pregnant is if they have a little bit of a threesome together. This is what I knew. Girl, she's not. She just wanted to have sex with these men. She has been secretly in love with one or both of them. Girl, she wanted to be in the middle the whole time. So, yeah, this is a bit awkward, but Maki, he still doesn't really seem like he wants to do this. He's the only one who's a bit, like, tentative, but he has to be in... he has to be in the triangle because it's supposed to be him and Edgy's child. So, like, if he's not in it, like, is it really his child? If he's not, like... It doesn't really show much. She's just lying on the bed, and then it's Edgy and Maki, and then they're, like, making out over her, and she's just literally lying there. And I think the reason why Edgy was like, Maki, you gotta be here, is because bro's gay ass could not get it up if he was alone with a woman, so he need his boyfriend to make out with him during it. But the episode ends with them making out over top of her body lying there. And that's when I was like, so should I continue watching this show? It's getting into... I was just so disappointed in her character, in Mieko's character, because I thought I had finally found the representation I wanted, but it turns out no. And things only go downhill from here. So next episode begins with her taking a pregnancy test, and we are led to believe that it is positive. She texts the boys, she's like, I'm pregnant. And then after she is pregnant, at 19 by the way, Edgy starts to spend more and more time with her, naturally, but, you know, she's pregnant, but he begins to ignore his boyfriend, Maki. And it's pretty noticeable, his shift in attitude. He becomes more cold, more distant from Maki. Almost as if he is trying to do what his father wants him and, you know, transition into becoming a more of a heterosexual man. And then one day, the three of them are hanging out together. She's still pretty early on in the pregnancy, but she's having like a lot of like morning sickness symptoms. And Maki realizes, he's been reading up on pregnancy and all that, and he realizes, hold up. So like the symptoms you're exhibiting right now should be happening when you're like 6 weeks pregnant. But back when we conceived, that was like 12 weeks ago, honey. Like, what's going on? And that is when he realizes that Edgy and Mieko went behind his back together without him. Oh. So that is when Maki is like, you know what? I'm fucking done with this shit. You guys are bringing in... Like, I was not even a part of this. I didn't want to do this, okay? I felt pressured to do it because of my boyfriend, and now he doesn't even like me anymore. He's trying to become straight. You guys hooked up together. Like, what is going on? You cheated on me. What the fuck? I'm getting out. Like, no. So he runs away, as he should, honestly. They are bringing a child into this world so irresponsibly in the first place. It's not out of a place of actually wanting to have a child. I don't even know why they're doing this at this point, but Edgy just wants to be straight. So there's that. So then Maki leaves and he moves into this apartment building and he doesn't see them. And, you know, Mieko has her kid. Her and Edgy get married. It's a happy heterosexual relationship.
To me, this especially felt like a punch in the face because Mieko had previously stated that she was never going to get married and she didn't even like men. So this just made all of her previous statements feel cheap.
And another time skip of like 4 years happens. So I actually, when I watched the show, I skipped through a lot of that bullshit because it pissed me off so much. After the time skip of 4 years, we are back, and now we are Maki's perspective. Like, he works part-time at a convenience store. He's not doing too good. He only eats ramen noodles, only eats instant ramen, and he's putting his trash away one day where then he sees Asato. And Asato was a kid he used to go to middle school with, and they recognize each other, and then they strike up a little conversation. And bro is like, hey, Maki, like, it's not trash day, like, put that back. I'll tell you when it is tomorrow. So he knocks on his door in the morning, and he's like, okay, it's trash. Takes out his trash for him. And they start, like, hanging out more and more, and then eventually Asato invites Maki over for dinner at his house, and then they're just having such a good time, and then their dinners become more and more regular, and then Asato's like, Maki, will you promise to have dinner with me every night? It just feels so much better to not be alone. And then he's like, yes. So they have dinner together every night. And meanwhile, we kind of get a glimpse into Asato's life. He's a hairstylist, but he's like low in the ranks. Like, he doesn't actually cut anyone's hair. He just like kind of sweeps around and massages their heads and does all like the assistant stuff. And he doesn't even really have dreams of making it further. Like, he's just fine with where he is right now. And his grandfather, who raised him and was pretty abusive to him, is like in an old person care home now. And he visits him every once in a while. And he's going through a lot because of it. He's going through some mental turmoil. But Maki is always there to make him feel better. And then one day, they are lying together in the same bed, as two straight dudes do, like, all the time. And Asato's like, hey, Maki, have you ever had feelings for another guy before? And then Maki's like, yeah, I actually dated one. He's like, what? What do you mean? And he's like, yeah, I have an ex-boyfriend. And then they like they kiss or whatever. And at first their relationship, like, Asato is like very like hot and cold. Like, he's kind of scared. He's never been in a relationship before. But eventually, love. And at this point, Eiji and Miyako, the two characters who betrayed me so much, we do not see them for a few episodes, and I'm so happy. And this is real BL. Just, it's so cute. Like, Asato and Maki's relationship is like so precious, and they're just there for each other, and like supporting each other through hard times. Oh, it's so cute. But anyways, the good things can't last, as we know. So Maki is like looking through pictures of like trial haircuts Asato has done for practice, and he says like, yeah, I just like kind of ask people that I run into on the street if they want a haircut, or like people I know. And then he's looking through the pictures, and then he sees one, and it's Miyako. And then Asato's like, oh yeah, we went to school together, remember that? And then all of a sudden, Maki's mood changes. He's like, I'm gonna go. And then he leaves Asato's house, and Asato's like, yeah, there's something happened between him and Miyako. So the next day, he talks to Maki about it, and Maki explains the entire story of everything that happened. And Asato's like, you kind of just ran away though. Like, doesn't it feel weird not to have closure when you want closure? And Maki's like, no, I just don't want to ever think about it again. But one day at his hair salon, Miyako comes along. And then Asato was like striking up conversation with her, and he's like, hey, so yeah, do you remember like Maki, who we used to go to school with? And she's like, oh, Maki, do you have his contact information? Please, I need to talk to him, please. And then Asato's like, no, I kind of just ran into him the other day. So then he leaves, and then he tells Maki everything that happened. And Maki, at first he's very tentative, but then he's like, fine, maybe closure would be good. This is when a meetup of Eiji, Miyako, and Maki, the former three besties, is staged after 4 years, and they meet up in a cafe, and it is the most awkward thing you've ever seen in your life. They're all like silently crying. Eiji looks like there is a shot of his face, and it stays on his face for 30 seconds, or even like it feels like forever. And he's just like, he just looks so guilty and so regretful because he threw away someone that he loved. He threw away something that he cherished just to appease his dad and be straight. And he's just looking at his former boyfriend and he's just like, he can't even say anything. He just silently cries and stares at him. And it's very awkward, but they kind of all apologize to each other, sort of. And the husband and wife, Eiji and Mieko, go home in their car to their kid. And Maki is left there alone. At least, Asato was there to hug him, to comfort him. But it's just like, the scene at the cafe, like, really, like, it just made me feel so uneasy. Because, like, they kind of are all at fault in a certain way. They were, like, so stupid, so young with everything that happened. Except Eji's a fucking pedophile, but ignoring that.
After that, there is a scene
where Eiji is in him and Mieko's house, and he's just looking at all the pictures on the walls of them and their kid, and their happy, straight family, and then he sees old pictures of him and Maki, and he just starts crying. The last scene of the last episode,
after Maki is comforted by Asato.
I guess him and Mieko had, like, set up a meeting for him and her and Eji's kid, and they walk, they go on a walk together, they walk down a path, he's talking to the kid, they're holding the kid's hands, and then they reach the end of the sidewalk, and then he's like, well, okay, I gotta go now. I'll see you. And then he walks away, and it's just Mieko and the kid. And it ends.
I think the character's wardrobe and styling in the show does a very good job of demonstrating their character arcs. For instance, Eiji went from someone with dyed hair who wore knit sweaters and colorful blouses to, at the end, he had short hair styled exactly like his father and wore a constraining suit. He went from having a sense of individuality to just being another conformist. The same could be said about Mieko. She goes from a tomboy who wears overalls and baggy t-shirts to a stereotypical feminine image of a mother. Maki is the only one who stays true to himself, consistently wearing his signature graphic t-shirts. And he is the only one out of the trio that didn't follow the typical societal path of conformity, of marriage, children, and all that.
Like, never for a show have I felt so conflicted, because the acting in the show, the dialogue in the show, like, the editing, it's so phenomenal. Like, you are so immersed. These people feel so real to you. It's really something else. Like, some of the best I've seen. But then the decisions the characters make is just so frustrating. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that means the show, like, you were supposed to feel frustrated by these decisions. You were supposed to feel the character's pain, right? But it just, like, it really, really got to me, especially Mieko's character arc. Her going from someone who doesn't need anyone to just wanting to have a kid and be married. And then I just felt so bad for Maki. He was done so dirty by everyone. I'm so glad he got, like, he got a boyfriend in the end. Somewhat happy ending. And Eiji, bro, the way the show staged Eiji in a sympathetic light, not as a creep whatsoever, when he was dating a 16-year-old when he was 22, a first-year high school student, is crazy. It was not treated as if what he was doing was wrong in any way. And then he ends up marrying the girl we also knew when she was 16, who was best friends with his ex-boyfriend. And it's so messy. If you want to watch, like, a good Japanese drama that has gay characters but isn't necessarily a BL, Chosen Home is such a good show. I recommend it. It's so cute. It's so sweet. It's so funny. It makes me cry tears of joy. If you want to be mad and pissed off, watch More Than Words. But if you want a cute time, family feel good show, watch Chosen Home. It's really good. I hope I made sense because I had no notes. This was all off the dome. Bye.